Boldwood presents People Don't Just Disappear, written by Claire Allan and read by Ali Croker. Prologue. The crying is shrill, persistent, and nothing seems to be able to stop it. There are no words that seem able to bring comfort. No way to end the constant whining and pleading for something that can never happen. Threats haven't worked. If anything, they have increased the lamenting and the wailing that makes his body react as if he were listening to fingernails being scraped down a blackboard. He just wants it to stop. He can't think while this is happening. There are times when he doesn't feel able to breathe. There are times when he can feel anger seize him and start to squeeze every molecule of his body so tightly that he swears he will explode. It should be easier by now. It's not that hard to get the message that life has changed, and that it's not going back to how it was, and that of course it's not fair, but life is not fair. If it were fair, he would not be listening to the whining and the crying and the begging. If it were fair, he would not be the person having to deal with this. He didn't ask for it. So why is he the one picking up the pieces? Why is he the one trying to fix it? Meanwhile, everyone else, all those people who should carry the blame and the burden, are getting on with their lives as if nothing had ever happened. He didn't do anything wrong. And all he is trying to do is the very best he can to get through it. He feels deep in his soul that he is doing the right thing. His intentions are pure. He doesn't know why she can't see that. He's a reasonable man. It's not like he has kept his rules from her. She knows exactly what is expected of her. And why. But how is he supposed to think when she just won't stop with the noise? His temper rises further, his muscles tensing. "I warned her," he says to the boy who is sitting wide-eyed under the table. The boy doesn't respond. Instead, he just holds tighter his toy car, crashing it into the overturned toy truck. "She won't listen. She won't obey the rules, and we know what happens when people don't obey the rules." He is pacing back and forth, ranting, muttering under his breath while the boy's eyes focus on him, following him as he paces across the kitchen again and again. The man's mind is racing. What to do? What next? This should never have been up to him. None of this should have been his responsibility, but people had let him down. She had let him down. Let them down, he thinks, as he glances at the boy. More trouble than he is worth. But it's not his fault either. He's not the one who needs to be punished, he thinks, as he lifts the keys to the cellar gate from the table. Chapter 1. Bronagh. She doesn't know she is being watched, and that it's not the first time. She has no reason at all to suspect that something is about to happen that will forever change her. She is existing entirely in the moment. A moment where rain falls fat and heavy, bouncing off the pavement and the bare skin of her feet. She'd known that today was not a day for wearing sandals, but what else was she supposed to wear when going to get a pedicure? Fumbling in her bag for her keys, she tries to distract herself from the slimy sensory hell of her wet feet sliding against the insoles of her Birkenstocks, reminding herself that in 2 short days she will be lying by a pool in Alicante, drinking in the sunshine. The rain starts getting harder, falling from the sky in merciless sheets. She can hear the rattle of it off the window to her right, the frantic rhythm of it beating against the ground, drowning out all other noise. Cursing herself for not bringing her small bag where keys have no hiding place, she digs around blindly amid tissues, lipsticks, opened letters and loose change, sure her hand will find what she is looking for any second. She glances down to try and spot them, allowing the rain to hit the back of her neck before rolling in icy rivulets down her back. She shudders, swears under her breath, and then feels her entire self sag with relief as her fingers meet the cool metal of her front door key. Already she is mentally calculating how long it will take for her to get inside, switch the heating on for a quick blast, grab a towel, run the shower, and get under the steaming hot water so that she can get some warmth into her chilled bones. Stepping inside, she kicks off her Birkenstocks, shoes definitely designed for summer wear and not for rainy days in October. The raspberry pink of her polished toenails does give her cause to smile, though. They scream of the promise of warm sand and cool drinks, of walking along the edge of the water, her feet being tickled by the incoming waves. Having clicked on the thermostat and delighted in hearing the boiler come to life, she grabs a fresh, fluffy towel from the tumble dryer and heads for the stairs and the highly anticipated shower. Already she has planned that she will wear her fleece-lined joggers and oversized hoodie when she is done. A pair of fluffy bed socks too. She might even allow herself the treat of watching TV from the comfort of her bed, under the warmth of her duvet. Maybe with a mug of milky tea and a chocolate biscuit for a treat. It counts as self-care, surely. Climbing the stairs, she's scrolling the Spotify app on her phone, looking for the perfect soundtrack for her shower. Today, she decides, feels like a day for singing at the top of her lungs along to her favourite tunes from musicals. No one else is home. She can harmonise as loud as she wants and indulge in her fantasy of being a star of the West End. It's a dream that will never come true. Her singing leaves a lot to be desired, but still, she enjoys daydreaming about stepping onto the stage and about the hushed anticipation of the watching audience. Having set the shower running to heat the bathroom a little, she is laying out her clean clothes on top of her bed when an almighty pounding at the front door startles her. "Jesus Christ!" she gasps, her hand automatically clasping her chest and her now hammering heart. There are a few tension-laden seconds of silence before another knock, even more frantic, rattles the door. Looking around her, as if the right thing to do will make itself known in front of her eyes, she wonders if she should just ignore whoever it is. If it is someone belonging to her, they can always call her if they need her this urgently. Her friends and family are all at work, or on the other side of the country. Mal, her boyfriend, is most definitely in London on business. Hadn't she FaceTimed with him not half an hour ago? He was between sessions at a conference on funding and accessibility in the arts. When they had spoken, he had been his usual brand of passionate about his job and angry about increased cuts coming down the pipeline. As a programmer for a non-profit community theatre, he has been fighting an increasingly difficult battle for the last few years. This forthcoming holiday will do him the power of good and give him the chance to recharge. It's probably just kids playing knock, she surmises. But as the door rattles a third time, she decides she can't ignore it. Whoever is pounding on her door clearly wants her attention and isn't prepared to wait. She leaves her towel on the bed, plugs her phone in for a quick charge and pads down the stairs in her bare feet. It's only as she gets closer to the door that she hears the sound of crying. If she's not mistaken, it sounds like a woman, or maybe even a child. Strange as it sounds, the crying reassures her a little. She doesn't feel quite so unnerved opening the door to a woman or a child. In fact, if it means she can help them, then she actually feels quite good about it. A little smug, even. She isn't expecting the sight that greets her. A boy, perhaps 5 or 6. She never has been very good at estimating the ages of children. She's not had too much experience of them, apart from her best friend Shelley's 3-year-old twins. He definitely looks older than them, but not all that much. There are still hints of baby face in his features, all wide eyes and messy hair. His eyes are red-rimmed, his face wet with tears that have carved their way through the grime of unwashed cheeks. His hair is more than just messy. It is unkempt. Dirty blonde with an emphasis on the dirty. His little hands are curled into fists, either bruised or also in need of a wash. She can't quite tell. And he looks at her with a mixture of fear and hope. "Mama," he says, his voice toddler-like, but hoarse. "Hello," she says, crouching down to look him in the eyes. "Have you lost your mummy?" He shakes his head, before calling out again, more urgently this time. "Mama!" "Your mummy isn't here, pet," she says. "What's your name?" "Mama!" he calls again, his distress increasing further. "Why don't you come in out of the rain and we'll see what we can do to find your mummy?" she says, unsure if she's doing the right thing or not. Ordinarily, she wouldn't allow a strange child into her home, but the boy appears to be alone and is very distressed. She peeks her head out of the front door, looking up and down the quiet street for any trace of his mother. She doesn't think he's from here. She's sure she's not seen him before, but how much attention has she really paid her neighbours anyway? She feels a small hand grab hers, trying to pull her out of the door. "Mama!" he cries again, impatiently, as if he can't understand why she isn't automatically clear on what it is he wants. "Is your mummy out there?" she asks, and he nods enthusiastically, tugging at her hand to follow him. Maybe, she thinks, maybe his mother is out there and is hurt, and the poor mite has run for help. "Hang on," she says. "Let me get some shoes." The child is becoming more agitated again, but he lets her go as far as the bottom of the stairs, where she slips her feet into the discarded Birkenstocks, cringing at the unwelcome feel of the wet insoles. Momentarily she wonders if she has time to grab her trainers, but the little boy is now almost hysterical, wailing "Mama!" over and over again, until she nods and follows him down her garden path, leaving her front door ajar. He picks up pace, running on skinny legs clad in well-worn joggers, which are at least an inch too short and as sopping wet as her fate. Keeping a hold of her hand, he runs to the end of the street, turning left towards the greenway that runs behind the houses. It's then she spots a car, one that has clearly seen better days, half spun around on the grass, its wheels having cut deep troughs in the mud. Both the driver's door and the passenger door are wide open, but there is no one nearby outside. "Is your mummy in the car?" she asks, trying to prepare herself for what she might say. It doesn't look like there has been a collision, but it's clear that something is wrong. Something is definitely not as it should be. The little boy simply tugs more on her hand and speeds up, running towards the car. From about 20 metres away, she can see a figure slumped in the passenger seat. A pale face, a mass of dark curly hair, head lolling to the side. Her heart rate quickens. If this is the little boy's mummy, then who was driving? Where are they? Surely no one would have left a person unwell or injured and run off. Not with a child in the car too. She glances around again, but can't see any sign of another person. Reaching the passenger side, she stalls as she sees the way the wheels of the car have churned up the grass and how the rain has done a great job of creating a muddy mess. Knowing her slip-on sandals will be no match for the mud, she runs back to the driver's side, climbing onto the seat and reaching across to the woman. "Hello?" she calls. "Hello? Can you hear me?" There is no response. "Are you okay? My name is Bronagh. I'm going to get you some help." Her hand reaches to her pocket for her phone, and only then does she remember it is not here. It is on her bedside table, ready for her shower performance. "Fuck," she swears under her breath. "Mama," the little boy says, his voice more mournful now as Bronagh climbs into the driver's seat and reaches for the unconscious figure. There's no obvious sign of injury, no blood, no broken bones, but the figure is pale, silent, a sickening grey colour. Cold dread trickles down Bronagh's spine as she steels herself to reach across and place 2 fingers on the pulse point of the little boy's mum. Willing a reassuring pulse to make itself known, she knows she is fighting to hear anything over the thumping of her own heart. She feels nothing, hears nothing but the little boy's crying. She reaches across further, lifts the woman's eyelids, hoping for a reaction. She's just about to move backwards out of the car and run back home for her phone when she feels the deadening thud of something heavy crash into the back of her head. Gasping, she wills herself to fight the blackness that is coming over her, but she knows it is pointless. She can't stop it. As the pain settles into her skull, her neck and her very teeth, she realises she doesn't want to stop it either. She just wants this searing agony to end. Which it does, as the world around her fades out and the call of "Mama" is silenced. Chapter 2. Mal. Bronagh has not answered her phone nor messaged him in more than 24 hours. "This must be a new world record," he types into his phone before sending her yet another message, wondering if it, like the two he has already sent this morning, will also sit unread in her inbox. This is completely out of character for the woman who normally has sent a reply before he has even had a chance to slip his phone back into his pocket. But, he supposes, there must be a first time for everything. She has promised that she will keep her phone in her bag and on silent while they are on their imminent holiday, save for when she wants to take a few pictures, and he has agreed to do the same. Maybe she's just getting in some pre-holiday practice. They've both been working flat out and deserve to totally switch off. He knows it's likely that she is only too aware of how hard he finds it to switch off from work mode, and if his phone were at his side constantly, he wouldn't be able to resist the urge to check his emails or pop off a few ideas to his team. That is the nature of his work. He always has to be chasing funding streams or exhibitions, acts and facilitators to keep the centre open and thriving. If he has felt the telltale signs of burnout creeping in, he has pushed them to the side and done his best to just keep going. But he knows he is on borrowed time. Bronagh is right about that. They need to put themselves first, as a couple and individually, for a while. He smiles when he thinks of how excited she has been about this trip. She has revelled in all the details that he finds boring, arranging travel insurance, booking a hire car, packing their cases and planning an, albeit fluid, itinerary, so they do more than lie by the pool all day. Not that Mal would mind lying by the pool all day, if he were being honest. Especially if Bronagh is there beside him in one of the bikinis she has brought for the trip. Just the thought of her soft skin exposed and browning under the glare of the Spanish sun is enough to make him weak in the knees. Their sex life has become one of those things that they have also neglected, and which they have promised to prioritise once they get away from it all. It might be low-level cheesy, but he has arranged for the bed in their hotel room to be scattered with rose petals, and for a bottle of champagne on ice to await them on arrival. He absolutely is going to start as he means to go on. It has been a tough year, and he wants this to be a trip where they reconnect fully. He knows they have it in them to make this work, and he knows they have to make it work. He doesn't like to think of the holiday as a make it or break it kind of affair, but deep down, that's how he feels. And he doesn't want to lose her. So he doesn't like that Bronagh hasn't read, never mind replied to, his messages. Not in a controlling way. He's not like that. He's always prided himself on being fairly laid back. In fact, Bronagh has teased him on more than one occasion that he is so laid back that he is practically horizontal. Mal sees it differently though. Why sweat the small stuff? He trusts Bronagh implicitly. He has no reason to jump to the worst possible conclusion if she doesn't reply to his messages straight away. It will simply be the case that she is busy with something. Or at least that's how he used to think. He has to acknowledge that he does perhaps sweat the small, and even the tiny stuff, these days. This doesn't feel particularly small, though. It's not her normal pattern of behaviour. Normally they wouldn't go this long without being in touch with each other. And especially not when a holiday is only a day away. Bronagh would normally be bombarding him with holiday-themed memes or fantasising about what cocktails they can drink. She'd be sending him cheeky little messages with pictures of the aforementioned bikinis, reminding him she's just been waxed from head to toe and spray-tanned to within an inch of her life so she doesn't stick out like a big white thumb on the sunbeds. Maybe her heart isn't in it as much as he'd thought, or maybe, he thinks as his stomach sinks, she has already checked out of their relationship. Maybe her earlier excitement was just an act. a case of fake it till you make it. Pushing down the uneasy feeling, he reminds himself he'll be home soon and he'll see her then. It will all be grand. His nerves are just getting to him. 20 minutes will have him from City of Derry Airport back to her. She's probably just misplaced her phone or something. Although he has never known his girlfriend to let it out of her sight, often joking that she loves it more than him, even though he knows, doesn't he, that she loves the very bones of him. Still, as the taxi pulls out of the airport and heads back towards the city itself, he does another scan of her social media, hoping he will see some post or comment that will reassure him that all is well. Before they know it, they'll be drinking Aperol spritz on the warm sand, a bright blue sky replacing the dull great clouds above him. It will be fine. It will all be fine. Stepping out of the taxi, Mal sees the curtains twitch in the house next door to his and Bronagh's. Bronagh's right when she says you can get away with nothing on this street, he thinks wryly. Someone is always watching. And that someone is usually Mrs. Cosgrove. A woman in her 80s, she's relatively harmless. They could do worse when it comes to neighbours. Her hearing problems at least mean they can listen to their music as loud as they want on a Saturday night without annoying anyone, and she never complains about taking in parcels for them, which is a good thing since Bronagh is never done ordering online. He's long learned to stop asking questions. The only problem, as such, with Mrs. Cosgrove is that she likes to engage Mal in long conversations, which he doesn't have the heart to bring to an end too quickly. Clearly the old woman is lonely, and it's no wonder she wants someone to chat with. He just wishes it weren't always with him. Bronagh jokingly refers to their neighbour as a cougar and Mal as her prey. Most of the time he laughs it off, but sometimes there is something about the way the older woman looks at him that gives him the distinct impression Bronagh is not far off the mark. He is certainly not in the mood for one of her chats. He just wants to get inside, see Bronagh, and celebrate the fact he doesn't have to worry about work for a whole 2 weeks. Relief had washed over him when the taxi had pulled up and he had seen Bronagh's car parked in the driveway. That meant she was home and he could get down to teasing her about not taking his calls straight away, before chasing her up the stairs for some reunion sex, of course. Thinking about the time they would spend together on holiday has put him in the mood, despite him being tired and a little hungover, if truth be told. He might only have been away for 3 days, but it's a few weeks since they've had sex, and he wants to rectify that as quickly as possible. If he's quick enough, he can get into the house before Mrs. Cosgrove reaches her front door. She's not half as nimble on her feet as she used to be. He does keep meaning to ask her if she has thought about arranging some sort of home help. Surely there has to be some support available for an octogenarian living on her own. He'll wait until after his holiday to have that conversation, though. He doesn't want anything to stall him. Having grabbed his bag from the cabbie, he has raced up the path and is almost tantalisingly close to the front door when he hears her soft, reedy voice. "Oh, there you are, Mal. I've been wondering where you've been." Swearing internally, he turns around and smiles at her. If he's not mistaken, she colours a little. "Away with work for a couple of days, Mrs. C. Nothing too exciting, but Bronagh and I are off on holiday tomorrow." A look of confusion passes over his neighbour's face, and she takes a few steps closer to him. "Oh, are you meeting her out there? Only she's not been here this past day and a half. Don't be getting mad at her, but she even left the front door open when she left. I spotted it on my way back from the shops and closed it for you. I thought she'd be back before now so I could mention it to her, but—" "What do you mean she's not been here?" he asks, failing to keep the alarm from his voice. "Well, I've knocked on the door a few times and no one has come to answer it. And there have been no lights on in the evenings. You really should get one of those timer things, you know. Make people think there's someone at home. You'd never know who'd be watching your house these days." A deeply uneasy feeling settles in Mal's chest. Bronagh not there, and the car still in the drive, coupled with her not reading his messages. "Did she tell you she was going somewhere?" he asks, desperately trying to fit the puzzle pieces together, even though nothing seems to be making any sense. No, as I said, I went to the shops, and when I came back, I noticed your front door was open to the world. God knows who and his mother could have been in your house and away with all your belongings. So I went up and rapped on the door to let Bronagh know. Well, either she was out and left the door swinging behind her, or she was hiding from me again. Mrs. Cosgrove gives a wry little smile that makes Mal feel well and truly caught out. Yes, they have been known to hide from their neighbour from time to time. No harm meant to her, of course. They just didn't always have the time for mammoth conversations about the weather, or the bins, or dog foiling, for that matter. No, she wouldn't do that, Mal says, but he knows it sounds weak. Well, whatever the reason, there was no answer, and I shouted up the stairs and everything. So I figured she must have just nipped out and the door hadn't caught on the latch or something. Easy done when you're rushing, I suppose. Anyway, I pulled the door closed and went on home. Thanks for that, Mal says. It's not a bother. Sure, isn't it what neighbours are all about? I was going to come over and tell Bronagh she'd left the door open when I next saw her, but as I said, there's not been a hint of movement since. Not her car, nothing. I started to wonder if maybe you two had a falling out or something. But then I said to myself, sure, the wee girl would have taken her car, surely. Agitation nips at Mal. He knows his neighbour is fishing for gossip, when really all he wants to do is get inside and see for himself if Bronagh is there. It's not possible that she's left him, is it? I mean, to give the old woman her dues, she has it right. If Bronagh had gone, she'd have taken her car with her. Wouldn't she? No sign of her. Her car untouched. Their front door left swinging open. Messages unread and unanswered. He doesn't know how long he can go on trying to fool himself that everything is as it should be. Starting to feel on edge, he has to put his mind at rest as quickly as possible. So he thanks Mrs. Cosgrove for her concern, tells her he is absolutely sure there is nothing to worry about and that he will let her know Bronagh is okay once he speaks with her. The older woman nods, and for a split second Mal thinks he hasn't got his message through and that she is going to stand there on the front path and wait for immediate confirmation of proof of life. You'd better get back inside, he says, nodding to her house. Looks like rain is coming in again. Aye, maybe, she says, and starts to shuffle away reluctantly, while Mal puts his key in the lock and turns it. He is winding himself up for nothing, he tells himself. His gorgeous Bronagh will be up to her eyes in packing, AirPods in her ears and bopping around the bedroom, oblivious to any noise around her. The lights will have been off last night because she was round at Shelley's or something. They'd have sunk a bottle of wine and she'd have slept over. That will be why her car never left the drive. And an open door? Sure, it's easy to do. But as he walks into the house, he immediately knows something isn't right. It's cold. The kind of cold that comes with being unoccupied for a day or two. He almost slips on the day's post, which is still lying behind the door. Even if she had stayed over with Shelley, surely she'd have been home before now. Bronagh, he calls. I'm home. Are you here? As his question is met with silence, his heart rate starts to rise, just as his stomach sinks further. Jesus, Mal, he thinks. You're letting the old woman get to you. Everything will be fine. Trust yourself. Trust her. She wouldn't just leave. That's when he hears it. The sound of the water running. The shower. That's where she will be. Standing under the full force of the power shower he had insisted on getting fitted and hosting her own private disco. Smiling at the thought, he drops his case and heads straight for the stairs, convincing himself the cold in the house will be a result of the home heating oil having run out. They've been caught before, not getting a top-up in time. Bronagh will have decided to wait until they are back from Spain before ordering more. He's such an idiot for getting himself wound up over it. Relief floods his veins. The bathroom door is open. He feels a swell of desire thinking of her standing under the hot streams of water, soaping herself down. God, he just wants to get naked with this woman as soon as possible and start their holiday off with a bang. No pun intended. He smiles to himself as he reaches the top of the stairs. Okay, baby, you're in trouble, he calls as he takes off his jacket and pulls his t-shirt up over his head. But when he steps into the bathroom, he immediately notices the lack of steam from the empty shower. Bro, he calls. Is the shower on the blink? It doesn't take long for the unease to return and settle in the pit of his stomach, yet he still half expects to hear her call back from the bedroom, or to walk out into the landing, maybe strip to her underwear, and immediately get stressed about the broken shower and another expected repair bill. It's only been a couple of weeks since they had to pay to fix the clutch on her car. But she doesn't call back. Not even when he calls her name a second time. No, the house remains much too quiet. Chapter 3. Mal. Mal walks to their room, having absolutely no idea of what he may find. Please God he won't find empty wardrobes, doors hanging open, hangers stripped and bare. The dresser devoid of her makeup and skincare. All the things he sometimes thinks of as clutter, but never wants to have to miss. Catch yourself on, lad, he tells himself as he sees everything just as it should be. But that calm doesn't last for long when he realises no matter what is in the room, she is not. Her handbag is there though, on the bed, spilling its collection of lip balms, receipts, coins and keys onto the duvet. Would she have gone out without her keys? Not on purpose, anyway. He can't imagine her going out without her bag, while leaving the shower running and the front door lying open either, though. But she's definitely not here. And he knows she has received his messages thanks to the power of the 2 ticks in WhatsApp, even if she hasn't read them. Is she avoiding him? Has his being away these few days given her time and space to think and come to the conclusion that she doesn't need him after all? She might think she has had enough, that he isn't enough. He might have been fooling himself that they had come out the other side of things. He knows he has tried to prove himself to her, prove he's the good man she thought he was. He has never cheated. He doesn't drink anymore. He has worked on himself, gone to therapy, faced his demons. He treats her well. He always has, or at least he has always tried to. He's generous. He helps around the house, more than some of his friends do if their braying and bragging in the pub is anything to go by. He and Bronagh aren't perfect, but no relationship is. They work at it though. They love each other. So right now he needs Bronagh to be here. Where the fuck are you? He mutters, breaking the silence of the much too quiet house. Maybe she's left him a note downstairs on the kitchen table or pinned to the fridge. Something that explains her disappearance as perfectly innocent, hopefully. There has to be something he just hasn't thought of yet. As he makes to leave the room, a flash of light catches his eye and he turns his head. There it is, on the bedside table, her phone attached to its charger cable. The lit screen indicating a new notification. Without thinking, Mal grabs it, sits on the bed and taps in her passcode. They don't keep secrets from each other, not even their passcodes. He has never had cause to doubt her, nor she him. So why should he be doubting her now? Her phone screen is littered with notifications, messages from her boss, her mum, from him. Each message he has sent her in the last day and a half is there on her screen. Nothing is read. Missed calls are stacked up on top of one another. If she's annoyed with him, she must be annoyed with everyone else too. He taps into her WhatsApp. There are messages from people, including Shelley, asking if she is okay or why she is not responding. His heart is hammering in his chest, a sickening thud, 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 which reminds him with every beat she is getting further away from him, away from their life. Where is she? Phone in hand, he runs down the stairs and goes straight to the kitchen looking for the note he hopes is there. He can handle anything, he thinks, as long as he knows that she is okay. If she's angry with him, if she has left, it will be okay. It won't be a forever thing. He can talk to her. They can get back on track. As long as she is okay. He repeats that over and over in his head as he scans the kitchen table, the fridge door, the worktops. He keeps thinking it as he goes back into the hall and checks the console where they usually leave their post. There is nothing. As long as she is okay, he thinks again as he goes into the living room and spots her jacket hung over the arm of the sofa. A mug rests on the coffee table, a film of God knows what floating on top of a half-drunk cup of tea. It's cold, of course. At this stage, he doesn't really expect to find anything different. There is no note. Not on the table. Not on the fireplace. Not on the bookshelves. If he's being honest with himself, he didn't really expect to find one in here. The reality of the situation is starting to kick in. Her car, her keys, her phone, all here. Her jacket too. The shower running icy cold as if she had been getting ready to step in but had been distracted by something. The door lying open. No lights. No sign of her. He should start calling her friends and family, shouldn't he? Isn't that the dumb thing? Call them and see if they know where she is. Except he has seen the messages from her nearest and dearest, and everyone is expressing the same concern that they've not heard from her. Bronagh is one of those people who lives life chronically online. People notice when that's not the case. Or should he phone the police first? Let them know she is missing? It's that serious, isn't it? Serious enough that he needs to report it. The thought nauseates him, and he tries to focus on his breathing. He checks his phone to see the exact time he last heard from her. It was yesterday, shortly after she had sent him a picture of her feet with her toenails painted a raspberry pink. He had joked he was going to set up an OnlyFans account in her name and sell the pictures to foot fetishists. "We can throw a few extra quid in the holiday fund," he'd written, and she'd replied with a laughing face emoji. Then silence. Nothing. Scrolling through her phone, it seemed that emoji was the last message she had sent anyone. Shit, he thinks. This is real. Something is definitely not right. His beautiful, brilliant girlfriend is missing, and he hasn't the first clue what he is supposed to do about it. Chapter 4. Mal. His phone in his hand, he thinks of how easy it would be to tap those 3 9s onto the screen that will connect him directly with the police. Something he can't quite put his finger on is holding him back. Perhaps it's the fear that calling the police makes it real. Saying the words, "my girlfriend is missing," means it's true. Every part of him that wants this to be nothing more than a bad dream whispers in his ear that maybe he is overreacting. Maybe he just needs to chill out. Maybe Mrs. Cosgrove and her scandal-seeking ways are getting to him. His finger hovers a moment more before he decides to call the one person more likely than anybody else in the world to know where Bronagh is. Shelley is, after all, the reason he and Bronagh exist as a couple in the first place. Her best friend and his cousin, she had introduced them on a night out and had orchestrated the blossoming of their romance in a way that would have made Cilla Black proud. There is nothing that has happened in either woman's life that they have not shared almost immediately with each other. He'll call her, and she'll tell him Bronagh is crashing on her sofa after they had too many glasses of Prosecco at a quick pre-holiday brunch, and everything will start to make sense. "Oh, I see Lazarus has risen from the grave. Where the hell have you been, lady?" Shelley's tone is jovial, her voice dripping with the kind of banter only the very best of friends can get away with. "It's me," he says, his heart plummeting to his boots at further evidence something is very wrong. "Mal, why do you have Bro's phone? Is something wrong?" Shelley's concern is immediate. "She hasn't been in touch since yesterday morning, but I assumed she'd done a Bronagh and lost her phone, or dropped it in the sink, or—" "Her phone's here, at home," Mal says. "But Bronagh's not, and it's clear she's not with you either." He knows he is clutching desperately at straws, but what else can he do? No, she's not. Do you not know where she is?" He tries not to take anything accusatory from her words, even though a part of him, probably the part of him that still retains the caveman-like desire to protect his woman, thinks he should, of course, know where she is. How could he have let it get to this point and only now be raising his concerns? It's been a day and a half. No, I don't. I was really hoping you did, he says, the sense of dread in the pit of his stomach growing by the minute. Sorry, Shelley says. Have you spoken to her work? Maybe she's grabbing some overtime before you head off and just left her phone at home. She did tell me the other day they were up to their eyes in it at the moment. Some Instagrammer or TikTok influencer gave them a shout out, and as a result everyone is looking to get their lips done, or their brows done, or their wrinkles sorted. That is a plausible enough explanation, he thinks. As the practice manager for an upmarket aesthetics clinic, Bronagh is often subject to the whims of social media, celebrities and their followers. Except he knows that she isn't at work. Hadn't he spotted the messages on her phone from some of her colleagues asking questions and wishing her a lovely holiday? No, she's not there. It seems everyone is looking for her. Mrs. C from next door greeted me on the doorstep to tell me the front door was left lying open yesterday, and it was her who closed it. She thought Bronagh must have been in the shower, but... What are you saying, Mal? It isn't accusatory. Shelley's words are just mirroring his own confusion back to him. I don't know. I mean, the door was left open yesterday afternoon. I looked at her phone, and the last time she was in touch with anyone was very early afternoon. After that, it's all just a series of unread messages and missed calls. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong, though, does it? There will be some explanation we've not thought of. Shelley's tone belies her fears. People don't just disappear. She has to be somewhere. The shower was still running cold when I got home, he says, remembering the icy hit of the water in the chilled room. Her bag is here, Shelley. Her keys, her towels ready for the shower on top of the bed, along with her half-packed case ready for our holiday. Her cup of tea was half drunk and on the coffee table. His voice cracks as panic threatens to take over. I think something bad has happened, he says, no longer caring if he sounds overly dramatic. He knows his girlfriend. He knows how her mind works, and he feels it in his soul that she would never leave him like this. She would not just disappear and cause worry to her friends and her family. Not unless she had no choice in the matter. I was going to call the police, but then I thought maybe I was just being dramatic, but I need to call them, don't I? There's a pause and a slow intake of breath down the line. Yeah, she says. You do. I'll be right over. She ends the call before he has the time to say goodbye himself, and, not giving himself the chance to overthink it anymore, he immediately dials 999. And this woman, your girlfriend, what's her name? The monotone dispatcher asks. Bronagh Murray, he says. And how does she spell Bronagh? Mal's frustration grows. The spelling of her name is hardly important right now. Bronagh, he says. What age is she? 32. And your address? He tells her. And you say she is missing? I don't just say she is missing. She is actually missing. She hasn't answered her phone in over 24 hours. She's not at home, but her things are. He's aware he sounds terse, but he can't cope with this woman's lack of urgency. Would your girlfriend be considered a vulnerable person? For example, does she have a physical or learning disability? No disability. But that doesn't mean she doesn't require your help. And you have spoken to her closest friends or family? Mal has to remind himself that it is the dispatcher's job to ask these questions, that she is, hopefully, not trying to wind him up with her responses. Well, no, but I have her phone. I've seen the messages from her friends asking her to reply to them. All the friends I would think to call. She hasn't read anything since yesterday lunchtime, as I told you. I was away on business. I got home to find the shower running, the house looking lived in, but there's no sign of her at all. and her neighbour found the door open yesterday and said there were no lights on last night.
Are there any signs of a struggle? Perhaps items were disturbed or glass broken? Anything like that?
The dispatcher sounds marginally more interested, but only marginally. No, and nothing appears to be missing. Her things, her car and purse and phone, they're still here. That's what I'm telling you.
And you didn't perhaps have a disagreement? Was there an argument between you two?
With the worst timing imaginable, he can feel his temper flaring, but he can't show it. He can't display even a hint of anger or aggression because he knows how this will go if he does. He'll be written off as an angry man who has probably scared his girl away, and no, he won't let that happen. No, we didn't have a disagreement. As I said, I was away with work in London. We're due to go on holiday the day after tomorrow. We were both looking forward to it. He can feel a headache starting to build. He wants to get through to the dour-sounding woman that Bronagh is important. She is his entire world, but he gets the feeling she wouldn't be interested. Not on her pay scale. She'll just be concerned with taking the details, making sure Bronagh is spelled correctly, and filing them away for someone else to look at.
Sir, we will send a response team to you as soon as one becomes available. I must advise you that we're particularly busy tonight due to a public order disturbance in the city centre, but we will be with you as soon as we possibly can.
How long is soon likely to be? He asks. We need people to be looking for her now.
Sir, we will get someone to you as soon as we can.
The response sounds rote, as if she is reading it off a screen. But she could be anywhere, he thunders, well aware that raising his voice isn't likely to help, but finding it impossible to keep his cool all the same. Anything could have happened to her. It's over 24 hours since anyone has heard from her. Don't they say the first couple of days are the most important?
Sir, I appreciate that this is a stressful time for you, but if you could please refrain from raising your voice, that would be helpful.
Adrenaline coursing through his veins, he kicks the table in front of him, sending the slimy, mouldering tea flying all over the carpet. Bronagh will be raging, he thinks, before he remembers Bronagh isn't here, and he'd give anything for her to walk in through the front door right now and give him a mouthful over ruining her good rug. Sorry, he says. Sorry, I didn't mean to lose my cool. I'm just worried about her.
I'm sure, sir,
the woman replies, her voice a little softer.
And we will get an officer to you as soon as we can. It might help to know that the majority of missing people cases are resolved very quickly and without the need for police intervention.
But this isn't like that. The house, he says. The door was open. The shower was running. She's left her keys, her bag, her car. For God's sake, who leaves without all of those things? It's not like her.
I understand that, and I've made a note of it, and will pass that information on to the officer who will call you.
In a fit of temper, he ends the call and throws his phone across the room, where it lands in a puddle of the cold tea. This can't be right. Reporting a missing woman and getting a wishy-washy "we'll get to it when we get to it" response. It's not good enough. How can an emergency, and this surely is an emergency, just be put on a "we'll get there when we get there" basis? If this was a break-in or a murder, would he have been told to wait it out? He doesn't care what might be happening elsewhere. That's not his concern. Bronagh is his concern. Maybe he should get in his car and go down to the police station himself, demand to speak to an officer face to face. Threaten to cause his own public order disturbance. That might do it. He doesn't care if he ends up in the cells. But at the same time, he wants to hope that the dispatcher is right and that Bronagh really might show up. He wants to make sure he is here when she does, so he can tell her how she has given him such a fright. How he never wants to feel these feelings again for as long as he lives. But as much as he wants to be here when she walks back in through the door, he can't fight the sinking and terrifying feeling that that isn't going to happen. Chapter 5. Bronagh. The room is darkened, but it's more than just the dark of night. It has a pervasive nature all of its own, as if darkness were seeping from the very walls. Fear starts to tighten her throat. As she tries to call out, unsure if it is even safe to do so, her voice cracks and breaks. Her mouth is so very dry that she is sure she can feel her lips split, and she can taste the metallic tang of her own blood.